Hello and welcome to the channel, which is going to be another set of disembodied hands soldering together outdated technology. Now on to today's topic. Before Christmas I had the unfortunate idea of rebuilding my original PC, at least the first one that I bought for my own money. Basically the cheapest motherboard available, paired with the cheapest PCI video card, known to me at least. Not a glowing recommendation by any means, but while the Triton motherboards now have their fans, I am probably one of very few who have scoured eBay looking for a Cirrus Logic graphics card. However, when the time came to put it all together, it turned out that the most difficult part to obtain, at least for me, was a compatible AT case. Not that I didn't try ordering one, but the last one I got looked like it had been in a destruction derby. Let's just say there were no longer any straight angles on the thing. I tried all of the common tricks, I glued everything, I banged it with a hammer, but there was simply no way that I could do it in the basement. Due to a coincidence or simply the terrifying reality with today's technology, YouTube came up with a suggested video from Phil's Computer Lab about adapting an ATX case for use with AT motherboards. His solution was to use simple toggle switches as well as these ATX to AT cables that I also happen to use. However, I like building things, and so I started doing the RetroPanel as a separate design, hoping that it would look at home in the case as shown on your screen. The RetroPanel is a drive bay expansion for PCs. Its purpose is to add all the switches, knobs and LEDs missing from modern ATX cases needed when you're going to install an AT motherboard into it. One of the main features that I wanted to do differently was that I wanted a smart power switch, which means that if there's a short on the motherboard, it won't keep turning the ATX power supply on continuously, as is often done with these AT conversions. Also, I wanted something that I've seen on a lot of older AT cases, and I remember my old 386 having one, a megahertz display. Of course that requires a lot of buttons, LEDs and everything that's not naturally found on ATX cases. So I started building something, a module that we could sit in a standard drive bay and do all of this. Funny thing is, a megahertz display requires a turbo button, which my motherboard didn't have. So what did I do? I've already designed the thing and I wanted to install it. The next logical step was to simply put a clock on it. Taking a little closer look at the unit, we have a power switch as well as a power LED, a reset button. The third one is a tool button, while the last one is of course the turbo switch. The central 4-bit 7-segment displays can also be used as an external display for a diagnostic card using this header. Any other functionality is controlled by an optional Arduino. The circuitry here in the lower right corner is used for the smart switch. While the cable harness might look a bit on the complicated side, it's just a lightly modified ATX to AT conversion cable. Sitting right beside the Arduino is a MAX232 circuit. The purpose of it is that I wanted to have some way of controlling the display on it from a vintage computer. And what better way of doing that than starting up my original Windows 3.11 installation from the early 90s. Of course, being my original installation, it means that the language is in Norwegian. But for everyone familiar with the terminal program from that era of computers, it should be fairly recognizable. We just have to start with the communication settings, so that we're talking to it using the 9600 baud rate. We're using one stop bit and no flow control. COM port looks okay. A simple help command will give us the recognized commands. First thing though, I need to change the display settings to the one actually installed on the unit, and we instantly get something readable. For something a bit more interesting, let's just enable the clock module. That's an optional thing added later. But we also have a BMP 280 module that can display the temperature as well. The first thing you need to know about building a RetroPanel is that it is not intended to be a single thing. It is just a collection of various functionality. You can skip installing the features that you don't need, such as the smart power switch. You don't really need the RS232 functionality. Even skipping all of that, it could simply just be the external display for your standard diagnostic card. So if you don't want it, I'm not forcing you to do it. Whichever the case may be, in order to build something that roughly looks like it, you're going to need these 5 PCBs. In the coming days and, let's be honest, weeks, I'm going to start looking into making a few of these videos. The next video will therefore be mostly a soldering video. Well, then that's it for the moment. Bye!